Hi, everyone. Thank you for joining us. This is the Tuesday's edition of Shagalinko TV, and thanks for being there. Okay, on today's episode, as usual, we'll be streaming in three destinations: Shagalinko TV on YouTube, Shagalinko TV on Facebook, and also on my personal Facebook page at Ambassador Emmanuel Gabari. Yes, joining me all the way from Philippines island, in Asia, is Mr. Kareem J. Jackson. He's a Black American living in Asia. He's a publisher, an author, an entrepreneur, and a life coach. And also joining me from Lagos, Nigeria, is Mr. Pascal. Achunine. He's the executive director of Health Emergency Initiative, Lagos, Nigeria. We'll be looking at something in case you didn't see our flyers that came out yesterday. The COVID vaccine is out, and a lot of countries have already started doing the vaccination, even though there has been conspiracy theories and a few um, remarks, so to say, here and there of a few reactions, from the vaccine. Some have said blood clotting and all that. But then we're asking, now the vaccination is on, what next? A lot of people thought before now that when they get vaccinated, it already just stops them from maybe still obeying maintaining the social distancing, hand washing, and all that, nose, face masks wearing, and all that. So we're using this opportunity to enlighten the public and tell them that being vaccinated is just one angle of the safety measures. So it still is mandatory that you put on your face masks, that you constantly social distance, and all of that. Anyway, I will bring my guests in to talk with us. But let me start far away from Philippines Island. Hi, Kareem Jackson. How are you doing?
I'm good. I'm good. I'm good. How are you doing? How's everybody doing out
Good
there?
to
You guys,
see.
good to see you guys again.
Yeah,
Hey, I
we're
got
good. And I'm surprised. I'm surprised with your new look, Kareem. I'm sure I will pass you on the streets and I won't know it's you.
my stylist. They were coloring my beard twice a week for like years, and so they were like, Kareem, why don't you try the natural for a while? And so we're trying it and seeing what happens, see how it looks and everything like that. So that's what the big difference is. I gained, but the girl said it's sexy, so I'm trying it for a while. Silver Daddy. I'm going for the Silver
Okay,
Daddy look
Kareem.
now.
Welcome on the show. I'll bring you
Thank
back
you.
shortly, but let me also welcome Mr. Pascal as he joins us. Hello, Mr. Pascal. How is Lagos, Nigeria? Hello, Mr. Pascal. Are you there? Hello? Hello? Okay, so Karim, let me come to you while we wait for Mr. Pascal to join us. So, how has it been with you? First of all, have you gotten vaccinated?
No, I haven't. I'm waiting for you guys. I want to see what happens to all of y'all first. I saw you, so I'm a wait and see.
Is there doubts? Are there conspiracy theories that you're not comfortable with? What's the delay?
Well, one is that where I'm at, I'm in a retreat, so we're pretty safe here. You know what I'm saying? We don't have the cases. I'm not dealing with people. We're pretty safe. So what happens is when I do decide to leave or travel or the opportunity just pops up, and they say, "Oh, I've got the vaccine somewhere," because I have some friends and things like that. I probably will, but by that time, I will have seen all the America, Europe, you guys, because no one talks about side effects or what's going on or
True,
things like that.
true,
So it's like,
true.
okay, I'm okay. We're safe here. We don't have the cases like America. I'm in the Philippines, thank God. So, they got 8,000 cases recently, and they were like, oh my God, So my country, we're in the we're the tens of millions,
Yeah, yeah,
now. So it's a little bit different. So I'm curious to see how they do, to be honest. But
yeah.
I will get
But
the vaccine.
Karim,
I've had the flu
yeah, but
vaccine.
Karim, you mentioned something very important. No one is talking about the side effects, and that for me is where the publicity should be at. We have gone past the stage of constantly talking about the COVID-19 itself, and that was because the vaccine was not here. In fact, people felt it came earlier than was necessary. So now that the vaccine is here, I expected massive information that, when you take the vaccine, just like any other vaccine,
Yes,
even
yes,
children who
exactly,
take polio,
exactly,
who take yellow fever and all that, they come down with a lot of
exactly.
side effects. But if people were given the opportunity, enlightened, I'm probably sure that a lot of people will take the vaccine. So what do you think is not happening? We're not talking about the side effects. Yeah. Why?
Well, for one, my radio show on FM radio before, my radio show that we had. Remember, we've been on lockdown and quarantine in Asia since 2019 in December. Okay. I won't mention any names, but I have clients and friends who had the China vax, right? 6 months ago, months ago. So, and then I do understand one thing too, is that, in America, they kind of rushed it through, and we're kind of known from the FDA and things like that of being the creme de la creme of the testing and side effects. But pretty much all they did in the United States was the same thing that they do every other country. They rushed it out without going through the extra private testing. So to me, to be very honest, nothing against my country or anything, anyone like that. And these companies that make these drugs in the States have been my clients before my shows, my magazines. GlaxoSmithKline, now Bayer, was one of my big clients before. So they make, medicine for diabetes and things like that as well. So they're known. But I feel like all that they did was just do the same thing every other country does. And America has this last private testing, right, before it goes out to the public. And then sometimes they still have recalls and things like that. But now they just rushed it out the same as every other country does. And I feel like the first wave of people, however many that is, you guys are the last guinea pigs. You guys are the last one. So after a year, right? And I mean, starting from the very beginning of testing, after a year, then they'll report those side effects. They don't have the side effects yet because they rushed them out. They skipped a phase. Yeah. It doesn't mean it was better to me than the China vaccine or any other vaccine. What it tells me is that it's just that they were able to say, hey, you know what? Instead of being stringent and being American and having these last trials, right, privately, like we usually do, we're just going to put it out there. And that's the same thing most other countries do. That's kind of how, but, and when I do take it, though, I will probably go to the U.S. Embassy and take one of the American brands, and the only reason I'm going to do that probably is because I think that if I'm traveling back and forth,
it's
how
very
Americans are.
important.
We're going to want the American brand certificate that I've been vaccinated. I don't want the knockoff brand.
Let me bring Mr. Pascal. I think he's back. Mr. Pascal, can you hear us now?
Hello,
Mr. Pascal. Can you hear us now?
hello.
Yes. You can hear us now, Mr. Pascal.
Absolutely.
Okay, fine. I'll come back to you now, and I'd like to ask. Okay, fine. I'd like to ask you, in many African countries, it's just one of the vaccines, so why are we not having multiple 2 or 3 vaccines so people could make choices? Like in the US and a few other countries, you have 2 or 3 where if you don't want X, you can take Y or Z and all that. But let me also tell our viewers that the comment section is there. You could drop your comments for us, either for me or for our guests, and then we'll read them as the program progresses and all that, and you can share the video. So, Mr. Pascal, let's have your take on this.
Yeah, if you remember, there's the vaccine diplomacy. There's been some over in the last few weeks and months. The vaccine is not available based on wish. Is in fact the portion that African countries receive to date are essentially because of programs initiated by WHO. So Uh, One, the AstraZeneca vaccine, which is notably in available in African countries, is cheaper. It goes for between $5 to $8. Moderna and Pfizer are more expensive. But even as we speak, the industrialized world like Europe and even parts of Canada do not still have enough vaccine. And we've not got to a stage where the vaccine is available on demand or as one wishes. So this is actually coming to Africa based on some equity initiatives introduced by WHO and some other entities globally. That principally accounts for why Africa is limited to one or two options, as it were. Again, you also the second factor is that the storage system in Africa is not as advanced and sophisticated as what we have in the other parts of the world, because the storage system for Pfizer, for instance, you need temperature of -70. So in Nigeria, for instance, the storage system, the cold chain that can sustain that temperature and ensure that quality assurance is guaranteed is going to be a struggle for most African countries, including Nigeria. So that accounts for that, apparently. But of course, you also
Uh,
recall that as we speak, parts of Europe are still on lockdown. There have been over 20,000 fatalities per week in Europe, which has been, of course, most of us are aware of the third wave. So, going back to the question, so what next? Moving forward, after the vaccine, what next? It doesn't look like global solutions to the COVID-19 have been properly. Is still must be the calling of global leaders, international stakeholders, and local stakeholders to come together and reason. Most times, there's a tendency for a rich country, an advanced country, to feel that no, it's a third world problem and we are indifferent to it. COVID-19 is forcing us to come to the consensus table, come together and think global solutions to the current reality we have. It has defied scientific, as Kareem said, the vaccine currently does not guarantee that there may not be a side effect in 2, 3, 5 years. But because we are in a situation where the world witnessed a lockdown, let there even be some remediation, some temporary relief that makes the economy and bring it back to shape again. There's still no solution sustainably in the about the COVID-19 crisis.
Yeah, thank you very much. Karim, I'll come back to you. Before when the vaccines first came out, and we saw a lot of superpower countries, hoarding, some of it, and other countries cried out that, like Pascal said, that the truth is, until everyone is safe, no one is safe. So, super countries were seen buying more vaccines than they need, acquiring more vaccines than the population that they have. So what in your view is calling for all this? Because if you're hoarding the vaccines and other countries can't get it, and there's always movement, there's no way you can keep people tied down in one place forever. People will always move. Are there no dangers posed in issues like this?
Well, you know what I think. I'd be very honest with you is that uh, America, my country, we in the beginning we didn't. Well, in the beginning, President Trump, who's not the president anymore, didn't even believe that it was real. Called it a hoax. Then went from calling it a hoax to calling it the Kung Fu virus and the China virus and all of these silly things. So they never took it seriously back home, right? And they've got tons of the most deaths in the world, the most cases in the world because of it. One thing I realize in Africa, in third world countries, like even here in Asia, in the Philippine Islands, people took it seriously. My radio show, we were talking about how serious this was in December of 2019, and I haven't been back in the studio since then. We started doing it at my home, and then we transferred things. So to be honest, in the States, they really need it. To be honest, Europe and America, you need it more than anyone in the world because your president was foolish. And no other country, you don't hear about people being evicted, 50 million evictions in Africa. You don't hear about 50 million evictions. I don't mean homeless. I mean evictions. Like get the hell out of your house. You didn't pay. You know nowhere to go. You know what I mean? In Asia, in the Philippines Islands, you don't hear about that. So people took it a lot more serious. And I think now that, and let me remember this too. Let me back up here a little bit too. If you remember right, in the very beginning, I was on your show, and we talked about how in the like 2019, beginning of 2020, right? How America, they didn't even think that maybe blacks don't get it, maybe Africans are okay because we're strong, we're black people. What are you talking about? So it came from China. Who knows? I don't know who knows how it is, but it came from wealthy tourists going home. And I'll tell you one big thing that happened here, the grace of God for me here in the Philippines, is that when everything broke out, the Philippines, the U.S. Embassy offered us 2 big jets, like 747 or whatever, big buses or whatever, going back home, taking all the expats back home to be safer back home in America, right? And I had my show, and I thought, well, maybe it's going to be a month. It's not going to be a big deal, right? Right? Okay. And then I'm in media, and they're blocking me at that time for my shows. I'm talking about it a lot, but I decided, well, I'm not going to go. Some of my friends, a lot of us stayed, a lot of expats, we stayed. But then you remember back in America, the news was the airports were jam packed because Trump made this statement, and everyone flew home. They were all scared, and what did they do? They brought it all home. You had cruise ships outside of the shores in America holding people with coronavirus. They couldn't even dock. Remember that? That didn't happen in Nigeria. That didn't happen in the Philippines. It only happened in our idiot, government at that time in America. So in my opinion, they're hoarding it because they're most affected. To be very honest, I mean, you just don't see what you saw in Africa and Asia and around the world, what you see in America and in Europe. Africans aren't going to spring break anyway. Forget you. Africans aren't tearing down the Capitol building of Nigeria. They're not in Abu Dhabi, right? They're not in Abu Dhabi, or Lagos, wherever, depending on who you're talking to, tearing down the Capitol. They're not protesting in the streets in Nigeria for haircuts. Remember that in America? Remember that? So to me, you know what, guys, get the vaccine, hoard it, whatever you want to do, because I don't have any cases here in my area. They do. You feel me? Like everywhere. There's nowhere not touched at this point. Whereas, Nigeria, you can stay in, Victory Island. You can stay in Ikeja and don't leave, if you're making your money there, right? And you can be kind of okay, until things settle down, which they're doing. And then we can watch how these drugs happen. And then when the opportunity comes, it's probably going to be when you get a job or you get hired or you want to travel for business, like probably you did. We require to get the shot when you travel, right? That's okay. In America, you get the flu shot or the vaccines when you first start school. That's the thing. You go to kindergarten or whatever grade it is, preschool, and you get your shots, and they check your records. So I think it's going to be like that. And I think America, we have the money, so let them test it for y'all. Let them Africa needs it. Don't get me wrong, but you guys are a lot more self-conscious and health conscious than Americans were. It affected Africa, but you do not. You don't have 500,000 dead in Nigeria. You know what I'm saying? In all of the continent of Africa, you don't have 500,000 deaths.
Yeah, so I'll come back to Pascal and ask a few more questions, but I got some text messages here, so I'll just quickly read some of them, and then we'll come back and respond. Either of you or both of you can respond to them. And yes, in case you just joined us, this is a Tuesday's edition of Shagalinko TV. It comes your way every Tuesdays and Saturdays, 2 p.m. West African time. If you're watching right now, please do well to share the link, share the video, and let others join in this. You want to drop comments on what we're discussing today. Our topic is, now that vaccination is going on, what's next? Yeah, so should people just feel, okay, I've been vaccinated, and then no more face masks, and then they start gathering and doing business as usual. Is that what we are supposed to be doing? Do drop your comments on the comment section on Facebook, or you see the number scrolling on the screen. It's +234 805438 60. Drop your comments and we'll read them. Let me take a few here, and then Kareem and Pascal can respond to them. This says, good afternoon. I'm watching you from Ghana. I think aside vaccine, it's very important for people to still wear their face masks when they are in public to avoid reinfection. This is from Gladys. Gladys, thank you. And I got this other one here from Port Harcourt. It says, nice having Kareem and Pascal on the show. I like to tell everyone that vaccine or no vaccine, we still have to maintain social distance, regular hand washing, and staying safe all of the time. Okay, I'll quickly read. Sorry, I'm trying to rush some of the messages. I'll quickly read some more messages here, and then we'll come back and talk. Karim, if you can see this from Frankie Bassi, could you read this for us, and then we'll respond to
Yes,
some of the
Miss Frankie. How
messages.
you doing, Miss Frankie Bassi? Mr. Kareem is in the house. My favorite. She got the American black in the house and the European favorite. My favorite guest on Linko TV. It's always wonderful, insightful listening to you, sir. Thank you, darling. Thank you very much. Love you too,
Yeah.
sister. I'm
So,
glad that you're here watching. Thank
Mr.
you.
Pascal, Mr. Pascal, if you can see this other one, could you read it too from Frankie's a second message around? She's in Abuja, Nigeria.
Wonderful show, sir. Wonderful show, sir. I think until all the agencies responsible for the vaccines can respond to some of the rumors side effects, a lot of people will continue to refuse taking the vaccine. Absolutely. Thank you. That's a great point because of trust deficit here. We've got people don't trust communications, especially that comes from those in government. So that must be addressed. And Frankie for that observation.
So Pascal, I was going to ask you. I was going to ask you. Actually, Frankie took the words out of my mouth. So, what's really the situation? Why are people not taking? And then the people who have taken, I hope it's not a license for them to let their guards down and say, you know what, I've been vaccinated, so it's business as usual. Because there are two sides to this now. For those who have not taken due to seeing side effects from others, and those who have taken and feel they have the immunity and they can do whatever they like. So these two categories are also in the same danger.
So we must strike that delicate balance. Number one is that over time, mankind has had diseases that require development of vaccines. And like you said at the beginning, we have had vaccines for polio. In Nigeria, polio was recently eradicated courtesy of vaccines that were developed over time. Conventionally, we expect that the vaccine might take 5 to 10 years before it is tested and validated after several clinical trials. But we have an uncommon situation that came across the world, and economies were shut down. More people were dying from different other cases other than COVID-19. People were starving, and there was a standstill all over the world. And of course, we also recognize that scientifically, we have seen a great deal of advancements coming from technology. Where we were 20 years ago is not exactly where we are today. So we are faced with a tough decision. I mean, when I say we, I mean the global community. For us to remain in lockdown with the lockdown fatigue or fatigue, or for us to find a temporary measure that can create some succor for people to come back with their normal life, move on with their normal lives. So, one, we must the fact that does not say again, based on clinical trials, has only 76% efficacy level. So there could be chances of being reinfected, number one. Two is that if you're infected, the advantage the vaccine gives you is that the severity may not be as high, but you can infect others who may not have taken the vaccine, and that could be fatal. So those points are very critical. But I still want to tell everyone that the process is still try further investigation to ascertain the vaccine that can work and provide significant buffer, protection for people in the next coming months and years. We are not yet at the terminal point of the vaccine journey. But I want to emphasize, especially this is Easter season, especially in my own part of the country, we have seen that the number, based on the number of tests conducted, is less than 100. As yesterday was actually 40 something. So many are throwing caution to the wind. It is very or not vaccinated, you sustain the safety protocols. Masking is critical. Social distancing is critical. Avoiding socializing at the rate of third wave may also spread to other countries if more caution, if caution is thrown to the wind. So I want to urge that this must be addressed.
Are you there, Mr. Pascal? Okay, we'll come back. I think Mr. Pascal's network went off. So let me come to you, Kareem. In your interaction with people, and even as you do your programs, what are some of the fears people have, and how can we begin to dispel some of these fears? Because the truth is, it's just the era. We, like they say, it's the new norm. We've come to see that even when you don't want to take the vaccine, for those of us who are into human development and we do a lot of travels, we'll be forced to take it, because if you don't have the the vaccination card, you'll not be allowed to travel. So what do we begin to tell people to allay their fears, to dispel their fears, and how can we also hold health authorities accountable to also do their job? Because they didn't tell people of the side effects. All they were just doing is, oh, let's get vaccine, and the vaccine is here, and then we started seeing all this, and people are not even talking about it. What should we do?
Well, to answer your question, Emmanuel, I do plan to take it. Like I do plan. I plan to figure out when I travel or do something. I'm going to go ahead and do it, or either the embassy will call and we'll have a media event, and then they'll do something there, or maybe they'll have it locally too. But I'm more concerned with what do I need to travel to the States. But I will. I think that, like I said, in the States, it's just that they really, really need it. I've got my fabulous mask. I've got my face shields. I've got my mask and everything. I've got everything. Here we've got alcohol, right? I mean, we have everything. Whereas in the States, they really didn't. They're battling with, I don't want to wear a mask. They're battling with, I don't want to stay in the house. They've battled the reality of this disease so much that I believe, they're the most at risk of the world. Understand, we're at risk because of them, right? Yeah. There's countries out here that don't have any virus at all. There's others, a few of them, that never had it at all. So the risk is people that don't take it seriously. I do think that for the most part around the world, we're wearing masks. We're wearing face shields. We're abiding by the rules of whatever place it is. We're not protesting. We're not clubbing. We're not doing any of those things. We've kind of, we appreciate being with our family more now. All of the lifestyle is different in the States. And so I think that that's why they're the first ones who are going to take the vaccine. And then to answer that other question there about what's some of the fears, I believe there is no real fear. There's a big fear in the States because it was rolled out fast, but the rest of the world, that's normal. And I don't have an issue with taking it. I'm curious what the side effects are because I'm going to wait so I can choose, right, between which brand possibly that I want, because I'm going to watch what happens to you. Like, you know, there's some of the brands, I won't mention the names either, that have been recalled in countries now, right?
Yeah.
And then in America too, remember now, they're not paying for this vaccine. They're getting billions or whatever it is that they're doing shots and everything. And it's for free for them. A lot of these other countries, they're paying for it. Or either like here in the Philippines, you know, when you have if you want your staff to be vaccinated or to get a pass or to get a test, the employer has to pay. If there's an outbreak in my office, you know, we got to pay for the disinfecting, this, you know, all of the, you know, all the things that go into it. Where in the States, a lot of that they're not really paying for because the economy is so important. And I think that that's a very different mentality that a lot of folks don't realize about my country that I love so much. You know, you know, America's like the best, right? But America's about money. It's a capitalist society. I mean, slaves, we were freed because of money. They knew that it would make more money, right? It was unethical too. But the issue at the time was money, you know, and so now they know they don't want to close. They want their kids back in school. All of the things that you guys around here know not to do, or you kind of, you know what I'm saying? Out in the rest of the world, we're like, no, we're not America. We ain't taking no chances. You know, you know what I mean? We want grandma to live. She's in the house with us. We love grandma. We love grandpa. You know, we're not going to just put them in an old folks home and whatever happens, happens. You know, that's not even a cultural thing for most of the world. So I think that when it comes to the vaccines for you guys there, I think there's no fear. They're just kind of waiting to see what happens to everybody else. I mean, it is a shot in your arm. You know, it's a needle. I mean, maybe a little different when they get the capsules. You know what I mean? When you get the capsules, they're like, oh, no problem, right? But it's a needle in your arm. You know, a lot of people are just scared of needles in general. And then in the States, they've been known to sabotage blacks, you know, with drugs and testing and medical testing and things like that before. And mind you, everyone's taking it. So you don't, I assume, but it's for humans, like the flu, right? I mean, is there a different thing for blacks and whites? And is it different if you're overweight, if you're skinny, or if you're old, or if you're young? I mean, you don't hear nothing, you know. So, but the flu, right? It has a mild side effects, right? Like tired, and you could be sick, you know, like throwing up, things like that, maybe. But the flu is worldwide. So maybe apparently there's, thank God, drugs out there, vaccines that are not racist like some of the countries are. It just vaccinates humans, you know. But if that's the case, and I want to see too, Emmanuel, I want to see, like you're saying, like, okay, you got the shot. I'm watching you, not just for the symptoms. Like if you get sick, I'm be like, how you get sick? You know what I mean? You know, like,
because a lot of people are scared, you know, like, let's see what happens with others, and it's really not supposed to be so, because that's why we have the health industry, so to say, where there should be a whole lot. I am really worried about, you know, when you talked about it when we opened up the show, it really got on us, and I'm sure Mr. Pascal also talked about that. Even before the vaccines came, we have been arguing that there isn't, well, there's been a lot of campaigns and information going on about COVID-19, but we needed a deeper reflection. We needed to see it always popping up on our faces. And then now that the vaccines are here, I expected more of information dissemination. So you tell people, just like in the hospitals when you take a child for vaccination, the nurse will tell the mother, if your child's body is running temperature, this is what you do. If it's stooling, this is what you do, because of the side effects of the vaccine. But he'll be fine. He'll be fine. I'm not seeing all that. Mr. Pascal, what are your worries?
Yes.
Just as I asked Kareem, what are your worries, and how do we begin to dispel these rumors? Because the fact is, it just makes our job difficult. It just makes us look like we're not doing enough, or we're not talking to people, we're not advocating, because they keep telling you, okay, that one has died and he took the vaccine. This one dropped here and he took the vaccine. So you begin to you begin to question yourself. What should we begin to do differently?
Recall that the fear, there was this unfounded fear about 3 weeks ago that there was blood clots associated with the AstraZeneca. Eventually, the European regulator dispelled it, and from other jurisdictions, they found out that it was not true. But we are in an age where fake news is also an industry of its own. So people are not trusting, just as Kareem said, even in developed society like the US, because of long and deep-seated mutual mistrust between the blacks and the whites and the different races. So people most times ascribe the wrong motive. So what is expected now? Here in Nigeria, I've also listened to even some scientists, those in the medical field, who said it's not enough to say that because for 1 month or for 3 months there is no side effect, that is enough to accept to take the vaccine. I will not be the guinea pig. This is from the medical profession. So, and imagine that person has opportunity to share that on social media or other platforms. There's a high chance that people who hear him would not go for the vaccine. But I also recognize that we must tell people that when you take a vaccine, and it has happened here, I met a number of people in the last few weeks who took the vaccine. One person said she was sick for the first 24 hours as if she had malaria, but after some time she got stable. Her husband took it, and the husband was feeling very hungry, and he ate, and by the next day he was stable. And these issues around the conspiracy around 666 mark on the head, those who have taken it, nothing suggests that has happened. So we must take the following steps, in my own view. I re-emphasize to everyone that it is a normal medical procedure that could be likened to taking a polio vaccine. And as Kareem said, a baby takes the vaccine, there are expectations that the baby may react to it with fever. So that should be communicated, and not just from the government. There are people there are institutions, stakeholders, especially social sector stakeholders, that could pass out that information, and people trust them because they have a track record of connecting with people's pain points before now. That is critical. Two is we must also ensure that if there are cases that we are genuinely people who have pre-existing medical condition and they took the vaccine and they had some side effects, those ones should be treated as identified and treated as isolation, as an isolated case. Not that we hide it. So trying to hide information also make people to be more suspicious. And I think also the way the government relates with people on other areas of governance will help in rekindling confidence on matters like this. But it must come to the reality that we have to move on with our lives. We recognize that this situation is imperfect. I must admit the way and manner the vaccine came so soon looks imperfect before many. But we have a responsibility to put resources together, put heads together to get going again as a people. It's not a perfect time for the world, as it were, but we must move forward. And again, lowering our guards around safety is dangerous because a third wave is not limited to Europe. It could happen anywhere else. So you need to stay alive. I personally, Pascal has made a decision that I want to stay alive, and I have to abide with the protocols, and I have to tell everyone who listens to me, this period will pass over now. One year from now, 6 months from now, we may not see the COVID-19 again. Why not stay alive till that time so that you won't be the victim? We don't want to be among the statistics that lost their lives in the course of being careless during COVID-19. And Kareem said, stop clubbing. So this is that. Why not make a decision not to club? Why not make a decision to stay safe? And next year you can do more of such that would give you excitement. Thank you.
Yeah. Yeah, thank you so much. We'll be wrapping up now because I need to get back to my conference. I know I'll bring you guys again, so we'll have a full 1 hour discussion because this is a very sensitive topic, and I know as the day go by, as we keep getting more reports from people who's taken the vaccination, we'll still need to talk about it extensively. So I'll be bringing you guys hopefully next week for us to still talk about this. But as we wrap up now, what will be your parting words? Let me start with Kareem once again. What will be your parting words, your advice to people who are still on the edge of being scared to take the vaccine, and those who've taken the vaccine and feel that it's business as usual? What should we be telling them?
Well, pretty much I say to you guys, go out there and just do whatever makes you feel safe and comfortable. If you don't want to take it, that's okay. I haven't had mine yet either. Just stay your ass at home then, or and wear your face mask, wear your face shield. If you do have the vaccine, good for you. Tell everybody that you know. Tell them how it was. So tell them, educate us. Like, what happened? Did you throw up? Did you, did you pass out? Did you feel nothing? What did it feel like? But at the end of the day, also, we should all be covering our face and all that great stuff and doing all the hand washing because we still got to go home. You've still got to showcase to people and showcase to them, that take care of them that so they don't carry it to someone who's not vaccinated. And in short, you guys, I am celebrating, by the way. I wanted to just say this to you guys. This is actually apple cider, so I'm not drinking liquor. I have my new LinkedIn live show, you guys. We are live on LinkedIn now. So we're celebrating. We had our first show yesterday.
Congratulations.
I know that you're on LinkedIn. I know that you're there. So you can check us out live on LinkedIn. Also Facebook, YouTube, and KareemAntonio.com. So LinkedIn, we're trying to get the Black folks on LinkedIn. We're trying to, promote for ourselves, man. You got to get on LinkedIn. It's the future right now. And a lot of information is on LinkedIn about the COVID and the vaccines and things like that because a lot of owners are on LinkedIn. So,
Yeah.
who is on LinkedIn? But pretty much you guys pray, keep safe, stay clean, and eventually we're going to all get vaccinated. It's a virus, it's inevitable like the flu. So I'm just waiting to see who's the best. I want choices. I want to be able to say I want to pick that one, or either they've all figured it out and then I go somewhere where it's safe. So I don't know what to say.
You're making it sound like choosing between the devil and the deep blue sea.
Yeah, it's like, what? We'd have no choice in the matter, right? We really don't have a choice. So all we can do is make the best choice. Which one, where. And if you can get vaccinated right now, whatever that means, go ahead and get vaccinated,
Yeah.
It's not a big deal. I mean, and to be honest, brother, I got to admit, I be partying like it was not. If I get vaccinated, I'm going out. I'm sorry. I'm not. I have my face mask and stuff though, but I'm definitely, because you get a little pass. I'm gonna go on the plane. I'm gonna go to the islands.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go.
Okay.
I'm gonna get out. Good to see you guys. Appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you so much, Kareem. Let me come to Mr. Pascal as he wraps up as well in one word. But Mr. Pascal, quickly read this message that just dropped in, and then you can wrap up your final words as well as we wrap up.
Nigerians wouldn't want to take the COVID-19 vaccine because right from early times, the government has made COVID-19 look like a business opportunity, generating revenue, and Nigerians have been made to believe that the very rich and influential people around the world want to control the world's population by this means. Finally, Nigerians have come to conclusions that the government does not care about the lives of citizens and that they are very self-centered. That's a tragic reality we have here. Many actions and programs in Nigeria, a lot of them does not relate to the pain points of the people. So even when the COVID-19 issue came, especially there were issues around palliative, how it was managed. So it created more distrust such that if the government says A to Nigerians, many struggle to believe it. But my counsel is we have the right to stay alive. So there are things that government could do within its space. There are also some things that are available to us. If you go to the US, over 100 million people have been vaccinated. So it does not suggest that those 100 million people are guinea pigs or they will die in 3 to 6 months or 1 year. So the decision about taking the vaccine is personal, upon personal conviction that, oh, this may also work as the polio probably worked in the past, or some medications you took without knowing all the clinical contents, and we took it in the past and they worked. So like Kareem said, there's also that importance of praying. So the reality of COVID-19 is bringing us back to God. So this is an exciting time during the Easter that, okay, if I have to take the vaccine, I call on God and I go and take it. But it is important that we do not, if we have that opportunity, it's possible that in the next 6 months, just as running testing in Nigeria for COVID-19, right now, cost plus or minus $120 or thereabouts or more. Right? There may be a time, based on our history here, that taking this vaccine might require paying from one's pocket. So if you have opportunity of taking it now, I will not discourage you. Some have also taken it and they believe in good faith that they would live and they will not be harmed. Again, most important is all the protocols you're supposed to observe, don't fail, don't lower the guard this Easter, and make sure you love yourself. Make sure you do what excites you, that is will not also injure or put somebody in a precarious situation. I wish everybody a very fantastic Easter. I want us to know that the government will come and go, officials elected or otherwise will come and go, but you will stay. And why not stay alive to enjoy many more years? You are not living for the government, provided you're not breaking the law. You're not living for the government. You're living to realize your potentials and your dreams. So don't cut short your dream. That's my parting word. Don't cut short your dream. Exciting talking to you and listening to you, and for your messages, I say thank you. Happy Easter to Ambassador Kareem. Happy Easter to all our viewers. Happy Easter, my family listening to me, and all friends and colleagues, associates. I wish you a happy Easter. We look forward that by the grace of God, the grace of the Easter season will bring this COVID-19 crisis and brouhaha to an end in Jesus' name.
Amen. Amen.
Amen.
Thank you so much. I really want to thank everyone who's joined. We really need to run now. It's almost 11 o'clock in Asia. I had to beg, I think 10, either 9:30, 10 now in Asia. I had to beg Karim to still stay by. Every time we have him on the show, it's usually a very long one because while we're still afternoon here, it's night in in Philippines. So thank you so much to everyone who joined us on this episode of the show, and thanks to my two wonderful guests who've always been consistent with us here on Shagalinku, in the persons of Mr. Karim Jackson. He's an author, a publisher, an entrepreneur, a life coach, and all that. Particularly a Black American. He's always wanting me to emphasize that fact. He's a Black American living in Philippines, Asia, and to my very good friend and brother, Mr. Pascal Achunine, the executive director of Health Emergency Initiative in Lagos, Nigeria, for really doing all this. We have to bring you guys again, hopefully next week or maybe after the Easter celebration, because the vaccination is still on, and we'll keep dispelling the rumors and encouraging as many people who feel they would like to take the vaccine, and also keep encouraging those who feel they can maintain social distancing, regular hand wash, and face masks whenever they go out. A few people I talked to said, well, I'll be fine. I don't need vaccine. All I need to do is just obey the precautions and just be fine, face masks, hand wash, and all that. That they will be fine. But okay, it's fine. Whatever works for everyone. Lastly, I'd like to thank all the fellows in the BC Alemi Foundation, Media and Lawyers Fellowship here. I want to thank all of you, everyone in class 2021 of the BC Alimi Foundation, the fellows here. Thank you so much for the inspirations and all of that. And all the staff of BC Alimi Foundation, thank you so much for everything. I'm really, really sorry. We need to leave now because of time, but thanks. One message just dropped in here from Kelvin, Matthew, and it says, thank you, Mr. Pascal Achunine. So many other messages here, but hey, we have to run now. And till we come on Saturday for a fresh edition of the show. Thank you all, thank you all, thank you all for finding time to join us. My name is Ambassador Emmanuel Gabari, and urging all of you to stay safe, stay blessed, and compliments of the season in advance. God bless you all, and bye bye.